Hello, my name is Larry Mason. Thank you for joining the live stream. I've been a licensed builder for over 2 decades, and the purpose of this stream is to answer home improvement questions or really any home improvement topics that you want to talk about. Whether you're watching us live or catching us on the replay, thank you. You're welcome to ask me any home improvement or housing related real estate questions anytime you want. You actually don't have to wait at all for a pause. You can just jump right in. Let's start with a couple real estate topics. The the economy slowing and the talk of recession. So I've definitely noticed that the economy seems strong, but it's slowing. You see consumers being more cautious, and how it affects me in real estate is we are starting to see changes. So, mortgage rates, as everybody knows, have doubled, real effect on the payments. Um, has changed a lot. A lot of people's payments when they were at a 4% or 3.9% interest rate are now cracking 8% interest rates. So that slows down the housing market, and their real effect and real payments tend to be double what they were pre-pandemic. So it definitely is having effect. However, the housing market has been so hot. It actually was too hot. So I also do home inspections, and I've noticed that the market was overheated. Nobody could reasonably buy a house because there was too many offers. There's 15, 20 offers per home, and they would have to do other concessions to try to make their offer look more appealing, go way above asking price, do appraisal guarantees, waive inspections, which is never, of course, good to do. It's your biggest investment for sure for most people, and you're waiving inspections, that can be an issue. I think I see the reason why. Okay. Now it should be back, and I apologize. We lost the audio there. Okay, so we're gonna jump into the questions. Um, First questioner from these are recent comment questioners from recent videos that we had up. It says, "Upside down outlets." The video was about, can you install an outlet with the ground side of the grounding prong facing up or is it required to face down? In residential, in your houses, you often see it facing down. Everybody assumes that's code and that that's required. However, if you look, when you're at a doctor's office or an attorney's office, it actually will be facing up. In commercial, it's typically facing up. Um, so the questioner asked, McCordy 1122. So does this mean I can switch the orientation of one of my outlets so that the ground is on the top? I want to do this because I want to run a low profile extension cord. And they go on to explain that they have a tight space and they need a real small, thin, low profile extension cord to reach in this area. So I responded, absolutely. Feel free to install that outlet in any orientation you want, ground prong, up, down, sideways. It actually doesn't matter. You will meet code. The outlet will meet code and be completely safe. There's no safety concern with that whatsoever. So have fun with that. Install it any way you want. Okay, next question. Uh, Mousehold number 2. Interesting username. Now I'll just replace it. Okay, this was in response to knob and tube electrical wiring in somebody's house. So this was a 100+ year old house. There was live knob and tube electrical wiring. So if you can see that tiny little thumbnail, that's what old electric wiring looks like. It was the oldest indoor electric wiring this country has seen. So when you're seeing knob and tube, hopefully it's been replaced, but sometimes we still come across it. It really is beyond a normal serviceable life expectancy. I mean, how long realistically can this wiring last? So it's time to replace that. I would definitely call an electrician and start to get estimates when you know you have significant amount of knob and tube wiring in the house. Sometimes for a lower cost, they will replace all the existing wiring that's easy to get to. And of course, they can replace all of it. Also, a lot of do-it-yourselfers will attach new Romex wiring to old knob and tube wiring, and that can be a concern because there's very specific ways that knob and tube must be worked with. It's actually so unsafe that they weren't allowed to run it directly up against wood in your house. That's how unsafe it was. It used ceramic knobs and tubes to weave in and out of your framing members. Okay. Kabuta Bear 2890 says, I tried very skeptically that this would deter pigeons. I had a problem with them coming into a hole in my loft for about 2 weeks. Anyhow, before I could get someone around to fix the problem, I sprayed WD-40 at the entrance. Previously, I would scare them away, and within 15 minutes, they would just return. Now that I have them gone completely, just amazed that that would work. So this is a question or a comment in response to the WD-40 videos we have up. I have seen lots of WD-40 videos also with pest control related. So people on the outside of their homes, apartments, rentals are spraying them around door frames and windows to deter pests and crawling insects. And they seem to be having a lot of success. The only negative I've read about and possibly see, if you get a big buildup of that, you know, it is a penetrating oil. So if you get a big buildup of that, you could potentially start to get like sticky residue. So you may want to use a product specifically for pest control, depending on how bad your problem is. But yeah, this viewer here said it worked good for a pigeon problem, which I would have never guessed. Okay. Us Radon Systems 2036 says, if I got that call, the entire system would need to be rebuilt. There is basically nothing correct with this install, wrong pipe, bad power connection, etc. Cheap installer. So this little short, little YouTube short video was about a radon system that wasn't working correctly. I did not install it. It was not me. But we showed some video of what it looked like, and it looked like it was an amateur. Radon systems, there's not a governing body in most states on how radon systems are to be installed, especially maybe in new builds, but especially after the fact with older homes. So you do have to be careful with radon systems. For those that are not familiar, or depending on what part of the country you live, radon is a naturally occurring soil gas, radioactive soil gas. I'm breathing it right now. You're breathing it right now. Long-term exposure of high levels, however, do cause lung cancer, just like smoking. In fact, the EPA says radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer. So you do want to test it. You do want to test it specifically when you're buying a house too, or if you live there quite a while, or if you're doing a major renovation, like you're finishing off a basement or doing an addition, definitely throw in a radon test as well. I do a lot of radon tests. I use a EPA rated continuous monitor. We leave them in the homes for several days. We can leave them longer depending on the circumstance. So if you need a radon venting system, it can be corrected, it can be installed, and you will get a great reduction. I've seen these powered systems with the fan, it will reduce your radon levels by 50 to 80%. And the electric cost to run that fan is the cost of about a 50-watt light bulb, so hardly nothing. Okay, user PM account PMA299 says, I tried filling mine up with water, but it doesn't stay and no suction can be made. Okay, so this was in response to a swimming pool pump video. The video was showing to regain prime or suction in a pool pump, which people have pools know this frustration. Your pool pump will be running and then randomly lose pressure and lose suction, and all of a sudden it's not moving into water, and maybe it's just sucking in air, and you're wondering what's going on. So for pool pumps to work correctly, it has to be a complete airtight system, only water, no air. If air is escaping in, it will start to lose prime, and the water will eventually stop flowing, and then it can be bad for the pump. The pump will overheat and other sorts of issues. So you do want to in the commenter's question here, saying they filled it with water, and I had another comment similar on this one that said the lid was tight and they can't figure it out. So if it's still not holding pressure and not moving that water, there's an air leak somewhere in the system for sure. It might be at the pump lid, the screws, the gasket on the inside of that lid, there's a gasket. It could be a crack in the pump. It could be a crack in the plumbing, and anywhere in that PVC or other type of plumbing that you have, it could be cracked. It could be cracked under the ground. The pipes could be cracked where the concrete sidewalk is if you have concrete around your pool. So it can be a lot more severe and a lot more costly. There are contractors that specifically detect underground leaks for you on swimming pools. Okay. User TIMD 5597 says free floating or sticky back. This was in response to installing carpet tile video. These are easy do-it-yourself projects here. These carpet tiles require no special skills. They're not interlocking. They're not nailed down. They're not glued down. Although you could glue them down over concrete if you want. They were asking, are these free floating? And these absolutely were. The brand that we bought were free floating carpet tiles that lay over the subfloor straight and even. And then you use these self-adhesive tabs on the interlocking corners. So the carpet tiles are locked to each other, so the corners don't come up, but they're not locked down or secured to the floor. So it is a free floating system, easy to install. I'd encourage you to try it if you have a place. It's low pile carpet, so it's good for like nurseries, daycare centers, home offices, things like that. It's not super soft and squishy. Okay, another swimming pool pump. Okay, this was the one I was referencing earlier. Viewer Jelly7332 says, if I didn't fill with water, would this cause my PVC to leak in multiple areas? Also, I have an old Hayward, that's the pump, and it has little side screws. It doesn't seem to wants to get going. This is a photo, so I can't click for more information, but I think she was having the same problem where it wasn't gaining suction. So again, you're going to just have an air leak somewhere, and you just have to become a detective and start figuring out why it's not sealing tightly. Wiring a new outlet for above range, the microwave range, Chuck Cholson M2041. The cabinet hole needs to be bigger than the connector. The outlet box needs to be screwed into the cabinet with screws. Correct. That video was made quite a long time ago, so I forget the exact points he made, but I do remember we used a metal box and not a plastic box on that one, and we did screw it into the back of the cabinet. This was a 30-inch wide cabinet above the microwave, built-in microwave, range microwave. So we installed the screwed-in metal box, and then we ran new Romex wiring that was attached all the way down into this guy's basement and then into the panel box. So it was a brand new circuit. It was a 20 amp circuit with a yellow Romex 12 gauge wire to that dedicated outlet. So there's nothing on that circuit other than that above the range microwave. I think above the range microwaves pull about 1500 watts if I recall, but it is good practice to put those on their own circuits when you can. You don't really want to share circuits with an existing kitchen if you can get around it. Okay, this one was a clarification from me. It says, service conductors must have a clearance of 36 inches from windows, doors, porches, fire escapes, and the like. And then this is referencing electrical code, National Electrical Code 152.25, breaker boxes, cables, and farm pole load centers. So what this was in reference to was a video that we were showing an electric entrance cable from the street coming to this guy's house right in front of a second story window. So when we opened the second story window up, you could actually reach over and grab this wire. I mean, it's 100 amps right to the electrical pole. There's no disconnect. It would be an electrocution. So that's a concern. You don't want service conductors to your house within 3 feet or 36 inches of doors, porches, windows, and fire escapes and the like. Okay, another question that came in this past week. What do asbestos floor tiles look like? How to identify? I could bring up extra pictures. There's a little thumbnail picture there. The common ones, the 1950s and 60s, where millions of homes in America had these tiles installed, millions of them. They were 9 inch by 9 inch. So that's a telltale sign. A lot of floor tiles today are going to be larger, and large floor format floor tiles are real popular right now. So yeah, these older ones, 9 inch by 9 inch, they came in many different colors, probably 50 plus different colors. If you remember, if you're old enough, you remember them in your schools, you remember them in government office buildings, and yes, sometimes your homes, such as in the basements, and occasionally we've even seen it on main floors of people's homes. So that is asbestos. Over time, it gets kind of crumbly and decayed. So not a good product. A lot of homeowners are counseled to maybe prime over it to seal it, do a new floating floor over it, but you don't want to embed or drill right into it. You just want a floating floor. So that's vinyl plank tiles, snap, composite tiles, things like that. I would not attempt to remove. I love the do-it-yourselfer, and we give you guys lots of free advice all the time on how you can do this stuff yourself. But I would not advise removing an asbestos floor by yourself without a professional. Okay, credit broker, wiring a new back to the, outlet questions. Great video, please help me. I currently have an exhaust fan that is connected to the wall with no outlets. The power of the exhaust fan goes into the wall. I want to replace the exhaust fan with a microwave, but not an outlet plug. What is the best way to solve this problem? Thank you. I want to replace the exhaust fan with a microwave, but probably meant, but no outlet plug. Um, if it's a typical microwave, you will need an outlet. I don't know of any that are hardwired. There probably are some maybe built-in cabinet models that are hardwired, but these above the range microwaves, they're all standard plugs. You do need an outlet above. So you're actually in luck here. Who has this question? You're actually in luck because you say you already have power from your exhaust fan. You're removing that. So you're going to remove the exhaust fan. You're going to use that same power connection to install a new outlet, just like in the video, and then you are in luck for your new microwave. Okay, the Misfitter 1767 says gas is about $250 more expensive. Okay, this is in reference to water heaters. I did a video on how expensive are water heaters. Of course, it varies greatly around the country, and if you're buying it to install it yourself, or if a plumber's doing it, are they pulling a permit? Are they removing the old one? That kind of thing. That's a huge advantage of having a professional plumber remove it or install it for you, is they're going to remove the old one because they are nasty and heavy, and they have all that sediment of 10, 20 years of buildup at the bottom of that steel water heater tank, that they are extremely heavy and hard to get out of your basements and crawl spaces and garages. Gas is about $250 more. So right there is $460 electric, $800 propane. That's gas or natural gas, 570. Okay, so he's showing in his areas off the shelf pricing. If you were to buy it like at a Home Depot or a Lowe's and do it yourself, the plumber, is there an inspection from the state? Is there a removal fee? How much for material? Okay, so he's showing you, reminding you what will add to the additional cost. Yes, some areas require, in the city that I live in the city proper, well, I'm right on the outskirts. In the city proper, they do require a permit for water heater installs, but I'm in the Midwest, but most other areas do not. It's just the Wild West, do whatever you want. Of course, you are still supposed to meet code when you install it and follow manufacturer's instructions. That's the biggest thing to meet code, is follow manufacturer's instructions. Their installation guidelines are king. They must be followed. But yeah, you can do water heaters yourself. Electric is probably more easy than gas, because if you've never worked off a gas pipe before, that can be intimidating. Then you have the flue issue and the carbon monoxide issue. Propane and natural gas, similar difficulty level. And then if you're switching over to tankless or on demand, whole nother critter there. Hopefully, you have some plumbing experience because most homeowners probably are not able to switch from an electric or gas tank water heater to a tankless on demand water heater. There's just too much switchover. There's going to be new plumbing. The plumbing is going to move. The tankless is probably going to have to hang off a wall rather than sitting on the floor. And then the flue, if it's gas, is going to be relocated. Your electric circuit might need to be updated to a larger circuit. Tyler Buford, what if I have a heated hose attached running to an RV where the heated hose keep my spigot from bursting? Okay, is your water spigot winterized? Question. So the commenter is asking if they can run a heated hose from their house to an RV. I think so. It depends on the part of the country, of course. The higher north you are, you're going to be risking it. I think if you're going to keep that plugged in and you're going to keep it protected from the elements, probably I think that's what that's designed for, a heated hose. But boy, I wouldn't want any part of that exposed to the elements at all, or you're definitely risking the water just to freeze right up and then burst and cause damage. Okay, that is it for those ones. Let's pop on over. I saw a cool topic that I wanted to cover. Okay. Okay, 25 insanely easy 60-minute home projects. And some of these are best done right before heading into winter. So let's cover these real quick and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, number one, freshen up old room of paint. As I said before, I've said it all my life. Paint and flooring are one of the easiest do-it-yourself projects that you can learn and will change the feel of your house and your space very quickly and for relatively easy money, especially if you do it yourself. Okay, switch out old faucets. The faucets that are available today are, of course, very, very stylish. I've never seen so many options and colors and finishes available. Um, so yeah, changing out your faucets will make your bathrooms, kitchens look more updated and impressive. Clean your dryer ducts. Yeah, that's a good project before the winter. The lint, we had a real bad one last week. I was in a house and I couldn't believe it was 95% completely clogged. So what was happening is they put a wildlife critter guard on the outside of the dryer vent, so the louvers weren't able to pop open, and the lint is just caught on that screen, and it's just building and building over time. So now the dryer is running nonstop. It had to run much longer than it normally would have. You have a house fire risk with the lint buildup, and you're just wasting your utility bill by that dryer running so long to dry your wet clothes. Inspect your electrical. Heading into the winter months, you're going to be running a lot more electrical items, plug-in space heaters and the like. So yeah, be very sensitive to your electrical system. Is anything getting hot to the touch? Anything making crackling sounds? Be very careful there. Raise flower beds. I don't know much about that. Scrub your pathways. They get very, at least here in the Midwest and facing north parts of your house, they get very mildewy and slippery, especially a walkway there in the picture, but especially like our treated wood decks, just a basic wood deck, porch or deck. They get this film, this buildup on it. And it's, let me see if I can describe it. It's like walking on an ice rink, I tell you. It's just way, way too slippery. Okay, perfect there. Update your hardware. That's a good one for do-it-yourselfers. No special skills at all required. You can change out your hardware in your kitchens and bathrooms and the like, and all of a sudden, it has a new fresh feel to it, and the hardware can be heavy duty and feel a lot better to the touch. In the picture there, she's screwing in, I think it's a she, a new handle. You want to make sure to measure and compare your old hole location to your new pattern, because if you buy a dramatically different pattern, you're drilling new holes in the cabinet, and the new hardware might not cover the old holes. So just be mindful of that. Degram your own house. That's the same thing with the power washing. Um, you can have your house professionally power washed for sure, and they do a good job. You can do it yourself. Don't overdo it on the pressure, and you might want to mention this to the house cleaning contractor before they start. Don't go nuts with the pressure. I've seen damage occur. I've seen paint on wood siding just fly right off because they use too much PSI, too much pressure in the spray wands. You don't want them spraying directly up into the soffit vents. If you look at that picture there, that garage floodlight right under a vent, if they spray directly up into the vent, now you have full on water in your attic and under your roof decking, which can be a problem. Install weather stripping, of course, as we head into the winter. That's an excellent, excellent project. Um, Doors and windows. There's so many products. If you have an older house and it's a little bit drafty, a little bit cold, take the time to go through the home improvement aisles of just that area, the weather stripping, the caulks, the uh, films, the sealants. There's so many different options for sealing up your house and making it more weather tight. Replace your furnace filter. I buy a 1 year pleated, I think it's a 5-inch filter. So mine's real easy. It's not time to replace it, until fall season starts again. And so that's real easy. It's 1 year. But in this video, in this picture here, they have a very thin filter. It's not going to last very, very long. So they might be changing that one every 30 to 60 days. Also, when you replace your air filter, of course, use the correct size. Buy a good filter. You don't need the highest MERV rating, and then it's going to not, this has been a very controversial topic lately, and then it's not going to allow enough air to pass through your system, which makes the system work harder as well. So you don't need the top MERV rating, just a good middle of the road filter is fine, the correct size. And also when you're pulling that and switching that out, go ahead and pop open your furnace blower door and just wipe everything down. You'll be surprised at how much nastiness is in there, even past the filter. Drain your water heater. That's actually controversial. If you talk to
Okay, let's build something awesome.
if
Let's
you
get to
talk
work.
to plumbers, the draining of the water heater topic, some say it's a complete waste of time. Don't worry about it. Others say absolutely do it every single month without fail. If you've never done it and your water heater is already 5 years old, it's not going to matter anyways. You're probably not going to get some of that sludge out, and you're going to have to replace a water heater. However, if you have done it since the beginning, if it's a new water heater and you start with that practice, it's literally just hooking up a garden hose to that drain plug at the bottom of your water heater and draining some water out. And it's going to get the dirtiest sediment filled water from the bottom of the tank. It's as simple as that. If you do it when it's a new water heater and you're staying consistent with it, you will gain the most benefit and it's worth your time. Also, if your water is extremely hard and has sediments in it, you're probably going to have to do it, or the water heater won't last as long. But yeah, plumbers do disagree on that one all day long. They'll never come to agreement on that one. Install a programmable thermostat. That's super cool. A lot of them today are Wi-Fi enabled, so you can program it right with your smartphone or check the temperature from your smartphone. Say you're away on a long vacation and you want to know that the house is staying heated and not freezing up while you're gone. You can set it to give an alert to your phone. And they're easy to program with the phone apps. With the phone apps, they're a lot easier to program than on the actual wall thermostat itself. In fact, utility companies, lots of them have programs now where they will give you a smart Wi-Fi thermostat completely for free just for being a customer, and they're trying to encourage energy savings. They only work if you program them to set back while you're sleeping or while you're not there. So if you're not setting it back or allowing the smart AI in it to set it back, then you're not saving any energy, magically by just installing one of these smart thermostats. You do have to allow them to set the temperature back, which is lower in the winter months and higher in the summer months when your AC is on. Switch cover plates. Here they're taking the time, I think, to paint cover plates. Too much work. Just buy new ones. They're very inexpensive. Just buy new ones. I wouldn't paint them. Shampoo your rugs. I've never, maybe when I was newly married, I wonder if I've ever done that one myself with a rental unit. But the companies that do that, they go to specific industry training for carpet shampooing and water extraction and removing smoke and pet odor and things like that. So they are worth their money. I would hire a professional carpet cleaning company if I needed one. Install lamp dimmers. We did one in our living room here where it was a new LED light fixture which saved power, but then also I thought it was too bright anyway, so we put a dimmer switch on that one so I can pull that down, and that uses hardly no power at all. Start a compost pile, not in my area of expertise. I don't know that one. Create a chalkboard board. Fun paint. chalkboard paint. You can put it anywhere. Apply window film. This one's a good topic for heading into the winter. If you have old drafty windows and you put that weather sealant film around them, it's going to stop the air movement. As you stand by, it might still feel cold to you, but if you've stopped the air movement with that film, it's the tape and the film, and then you use the hair dryer to stretch the plastic so it becomes clear. Some of you, I'm sure, have done that. Is if you stop the airflow, you are saving money for sure. You're not losing as much heat once you stop the airflow. Okay, transform a floor with vinyl tiles. Probably the number one thing in the last few years for do-it-yourselfers to transform their spaces is easy snap lock vinyl plank floor tiles. The beginning of the industry was the composite floor tiles. Before that, you had to hire a professional to install solid wood or tile, which is very labor intensive. Tile is as a specialty. But vinyl plank floor tiles that just snap together, easy to cut. Yeah, it's been a godsend. So easy for so many people, and they don't need to hire a professional for that one. Stop the squeak. So this is baby powder that works for older homes with solid wood floors. And if you have squeaks in specific areas, you can try this trick, and you sweep the powder in. And if it gets in the right groove and stops that wood from just deforming and slipping back and forth, it will do the trick, and it probably will help somewhat. Now, if you have access underneath a squeaky floor, like that's assuming it's wood on wood, like your finish wood, uh, solid wood planks rubbing against the subfloor, something like that. But if you have access underneath, like an unfinished basement or crawl space, you may want to get down there while somebody's up above and have a cell phone so you can talk. The squeak might be the subfloor resting on your floor joist. And every time you step on that, it moves, and that squeak can be fixed. If you have access, you don't have to rip up the flooring. You can fix it from underneath if you have access. And they make actually a lot of products for that. They make these little metal brackets that can attach to the subfloor, and you can tighten it on down. So yeah, if you have access, that is your best thing there. John Smith, I got a bunch of holes in my drywall from something that was mounted up there. How would you patch them up? John, thank you for the question. If they are small holes, spackle. So that's very small holes, like nail size holes. You remove pictures, or you're in a rental space and you're leaving, that's going to be spackle. If they're larger holes, now you're into drywall compound, joint compound. Often guys just call it mud. And you buy premix and it's ready to go, and you're just going to use a utility knife and just smear it in the opening nice and flat. And when it dries, give it just a gentle sand and it'll be perfect. In some cases, if it's white, you don't need to repaint even. There was the old trick of the toothpaste trick. If you were a renter, a tenant, and you had to fix a tiny little nail hole in your unit before you return it back in, when your lease expired, you could use white toothpaste and fill little holes. I remember hearing that trick from years ago. If it's a large hole, the biggest ones are probably behind doors, when a door slams into the wall and you get that big old hole from the knob just going right through that one. They make these plastic circle rings, I would say probably 6 inches in diameter, that are self-adhesive. You pull the backer, self-adhesive, it sticks right over the wall behind the door, comes in white, or you can paint it to match the wall color, and it looks appropriate. It looks like you put it in just because you want to protect the wall from the door. It doesn't look like you're covering up a hole. So that's a super, super easy fix. And I think it's like $2. Now, if the hole is really large, John, sorry to keep going on here. If the hole is really large, like the size of my fist or larger, or somebody got pushed into a wall and it's a huge hole, you're cutting out the drywall, and you're installing wood behind it to give you a backer board to screw in your new drywall patch. So you will have to go to the store and buy a piece of drywall. Traditionally, they're 4 by 8 feet long. That's too big for most people to fit in their car unless you borrow a truck. But they do sell, I know Menards does. I don't know about the other home improvement stores. Menards does sell cut down pieces of drywall, such as 4 by 4, which is much more manageable, or even smaller, just to fix up a little patch. Thank you for the question, John. Okay, floor squeaks. Yeah, there's a whole thing on floor squeaks. You can go all day long on floor squeaks. Keyless entry, I put one in my house. They're fantastic. I helped my adult son put one in his house. Um, the one we did is not like the picture. It's not Wi-Fi or smartphone enabled. It's just a pin. You just enter a pin, and it's fantastic. Love it. I'm surprised I went as many years as without one. It's fantastic. Upgrade exterior light fixtures. Okay, that light fixture in that picture cost about 15 bucks. It's a real cheapie there. Yeah, light fixtures are an easy way to improve the curb appeal of your house for sure. I would absolutely take them up on that suggestion. Paint the front door. Everybody knows replacing a front door is a little tricky, a little expensive. If you hire a pro to do it, you can be $1,000 or a lot more all day long. Front doors can be very expensive depending on what's going on. And if you're making the front door opening wider, now it's very expensive because now you've affected the framing and the header up above and things like that. But a little secret, I think, is just paint that front door and replace the hardware, the knob and the deadbolt, and that's it. That's all you do, and it looks so much better. Your curb appeal goes up instantly. So in that picture, you got a brand new painted door, a brand new light fixture, and it looks like $1,000,000. Upgrade the shower head. I think a lot of people do that. When I'm in properties with home inspections, you do see that a lot, that a lot of people will put a rainforest shower head up, a beautiful shower head. Everything else in the bathroom is kind of old and falling apart, but they got a beautiful shower. Concealed scratch floors. I think that's just part of normal maintenance. Some wood floors are better than others, but that's the advantage of vinyl plank floors is they are very hardy and they don't show many scratches at all. We're almost at the end of this list, I think. Power hour again with the spray cleanings of the outside of a house. A lot of people I think never power wash their house or never had it done, and it's definitely a service now that many more people do. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Please share this stream with anybody you think would be interested or anybody that has home improvement questions. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next time. I bet you can do it yourself.